WWE and Liv Morgan is doing something brilliant. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what I'm talking about because Liv Morgan is on her revenge tour and she is kind of floating under the radar in a lot of sense up until recently because Liv Morgan, she had a pretty strong 2023, but unfortunately, though, she was sidelined with an injury at the hands of Rhea Ripley, the Women's World Champion. Now, she returned at the Royal Rumble and competed in the Women's Royal Rumble match. Now, if you look at her cage match record thus far in 2024, it's not stellar on paper, but you have to give it context, right? So she returns at the Royal Rumble, big pop, big moment. Then she goes over Zoe Starks on an episode of Monday Night Raw to qualify for the Elimination Chamber match. She then loses to Tiffany Stratton on an episode of SmackDown, okay. Then she loses the Women's World Championship #1 contender Elimination Chamber match that was ultimately won by Becky Lynch, but it also was loaded with star power. We had Bianca Belair, we had Naomi, Raquel Rodriguez, and Tiffany Stratton. Then, fast forward to the February 26th episode of Raw, she put over Nia Jax. Now, that was at a time where Nia was getting the title push and challenging Rhea Ripley for the Women's World title at the Elimination Chamber. This all comes at a time where she was in a feud with Becky Lynch. Not a bad place whatsoever. Now, I've been high on Liv Morgan for a while now, and a few years ago when she had the run as champion, I was very happy to see it because Liv Morgan is one of those that just flies under the radar, but she has such a passionate and loyal fan base, and a lot of people, including myself, feel like she gets a lot of start and stop pushes on WWE television to the point where it's like, whether it's under the creative leadership of Vince McMahon or whether it's under the creative leadership of Paul Triple H Levesque, we need to see more from Liv. Don't just put her on television, give her a push, and all of a sudden just stop it. You got to keep going with her because she does get over. But she's used as a utility piece on television and in storylines and in feuds where she is helping others get over. That's a shame. Now, one of the things that I think that she has benefited from as of late, and one of the things that kind of goes against what I just said, was in her feud with Becky Lynch. Obviously, she was not going to win that feud. Okay, Becky Lynch, she was going to go to WrestleMania. She was getting a huge push. She won the Women's Elimination Chamber match. She earned the right to challenge Rhea Ripley for the Women's World title, ultimately failed in her attempt to do so, but you knew Becky Lynch was getting over. That's fine. You don't necessarily have to win all of your feuds, but you do need to win some. And she got a big spotlight at the Royal Rumble. She got a big spotlight coming out of the Royal Rumble and into the Elimination Chamber match. And she got a big spotlight by being put into a feud with Becky Lynch. Once Becky failed in her attempt to dethrone Rhea Ripley as a Women's World Champion, what did they do? They went back to Liv, right? So she's continuously getting this push, and they had plans to do a Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan feud, which makes a ton of sense considering Rhea Ripley was the one that in storyline put Liv on the sidelines last summer when Liv was dealing with a shoulder injury. And since her return at the Royal Rumble, she has been on a revenge tour, right? So fast forward to a recent episode of Monday Night Raw, tragedy hit. Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley did a backstage brawl, as you all know. Rhea suffered a shoulder injury, a legitimate shoulder injury. On the April 15th episode of Raw, obviously Rhea Ripley came out, did a promo segment, announced that she had an injury and she was going to be away for a while, which really, really sucks. Now, Brian Alvarez reported on Wrestling Observer Radio that Ripley is looking to be out of action for at least 4 months because she has an AC joint sprain. And that means you got 4 to 6 weeks to gain mobility and then you got 3 months to be back in action. Now, this is where this video picks up. Rhea noted in her promo and on Twitter that Morgan was a coward for blindsiding her and attacking her like that. Now, Morgan said in a later interview on the show that she was confused by the reaction to the situation, stating that she's not a bad guy. She questioned the fans why they don't show her the same support that they give Ripley when she was injured in 2023. She went on to state that Ripley's injury is the finest form of karma and that this is just the beginning of her revenge tour. This is brilliant because not only do you have Morgan continuously being portrayed in a big way, we've now witnessed the heel turn. We have not gotten heel Liv in quite some time, so this is a refreshing thing. You also have the elements of a natural built-in heel of using real life or factual things in their belief as a heel. She's right. There was a large part of the fan base that did not support Liv when she got injured. Technically, it was the week prior in a barricade spot, but on television, it was because of the hands of Rhea Ripley, who attacked her, at ringside. She didn't get the same support because in that promo segment by Ripley, she is clearly a babyface. The fans have gotten behind her because we all feel like, okay, we understand Rhea, she's a heel, she's on fire, she had the belt for like 380 days, she's doing phenomenal work, she's on fire, and then boom, all of a sudden, it was taken away from her. It was taken away from the fan base because we did not get to see the conclusion of her reign. We did not get to see her reign end by a worthy challenger dethroning her. And so now Liv and WWE is like, okay, we have some real fire here. And credit to Brian Alvarez, he questioned, okay, if Rhea's only going to be off television for a few months, why take the title off of her? Well, it's because you can build up Liv to a bigger point. Because originally, Liv was just going to be put in the spotlight, but ultimately going to lose to Rhea Ripley. The chances of her beating Rhea Ripley probably not the greatest. She was just an opponent. But by stripping Rhea of the championship, now they can actually draw money from this. They can put a bigger spotlight on Liv. They can put a bigger spotlight on Ripley. And they can put a bigger spotlight on this feud and draw money out of it instead of it just being a match. Now it is a feud, and they can do promos on television. They can do the big return angle for Rhea, and they can do the promos leading up to it and the brawls, and then ultimately the match. And then you could probably draw 2 matches instead of just 1 match because there's actual heat behind it. Like there's layers to this game, and they are hitting it on all cylinders. And Liv Morgan is just someone that is benefiting from it. And I have faith, just like I know all the Liv Morgan supporters out there, they have faith that they are going to crush it with this feud. Liv Morgan is going to crush it with this push. And I look forward to seeing what they do coming out of it.